Begley, what's up, my friend? How are you?
We're living the dream, baby. It's a big
Ab-
week.
Absolutely. Been obviously you're traveling. Everybody can see you're in the passenger seat, which is like your mobile office. Where are you at these days?
So I am in. I had the wonderful opportunity of visiting NCR and then hanging out with the family down in Lexington. So I am traversing between Lexington, Kentucky, and the wonderful Bedford, Pennsylvania. So I am in a village called Big Otter, West Virginia.
Big Otter, West Virginia. That's a great place to be. Hopefully, you'll have better luck than I did in Iowa a couple weeks ago. Everybody, everywhere I've been on the APT since then has apparently watched that live. So uh, I think word's got around about the technical difficulties, but we made it into Bedford today. So we're actually at the house in Bedford, Pennsylvania. Early reports are the golf course is in phenomenal shape. I've heard nothing but this place is ridiculous from about 10 of our guys that played it today. We're actually next door, staff house is next door to the New Jersey house. So went over and spent some time with those boys once we got in. I'm telling you, man, that's what I love about the APT the most, the whole family aspect. All those guys, obviously, Dan Kennelly taking over this year, doing a phenomenal job. A whole house of guys here that played today and love the golf course. And I'm sure the staff will probably make it over since tonight's a little bit of an off night without tea time, still 11:20 tomorrow. So we'll probably make it over there to hang out with those boys a little bit some more. And uh, but man, I'm telling you, this is one of my favorite weeks of the year. What a great golf course. The best value for a major, in my opinion, on the APT every year. This place is absolutely spectacular.
Yep,
Can't wait
I'm
to
looking.
join our members.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to it as well. I had the Penn State golf team. I follow their golf coach, and they were actually there. I think it was last weekend, and just seeing the videos and seeing the course, I was like, oh boy, it's in good shape. So
Yeah.
the architecture's awesome, but then when you tack on great conditioning due to some fortunate warm weather, it's like let's go.
Yeah. It's always interesting. I know last year, the pro called me going at it and says, yeah, the course is pretty good. It's getting close to where we wanted to be. And you show up and it's like immaculate and awesome and everything you want. And
Yep.
this year, a week out, he goes, hey, man, I just want to let you know it's immaculate. And I'm like, I don't even want to know
Okay.
what that means. Haven't been out there other than we can see it. We're sitting up on a hill overlooking the golf course and it looks absolutely perfect. It's going to be a
Yep.
fun weekend. Um, a sold out field, 128 players. It's going to be
It's
a lot
good.
of fun. Friday four ball tomorrow. Sold out field of 80 players. It's going to be a fun weekend, and we're looking forward to it. And then next week we'll be on the road because Chris and I are taking the trailer and we're going from Bedford all the way out to Kierland. So if you're driving anywhere between Pennsylvania and Arizona next week, you may see the APT trailer. So make sure to give us a honk and a wave and let us know that you're supporting our 2,000-mile road trip or however long it is.
We gotta figure out how you can like get selfies with the chapter owners or a member from one of the chapters just along the way.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're going to want to stop, Mr. Fegley, but in between,
Fair enough.
we're taking 3 days to make the drive. We're excited to be down in Kierland, 100 players at Kierland. Had a
Yep.
couple more reach out, one to get in, so I may have to see if we're going to get some more times or not. But 100-player field at Kierland's going to be awesome too. That's a great golf course. Obviously, you and I have been there.
Yep.
Shared a very memorable round and in our friendship there. We'll just leave it at that in the
Yep.
bachelor party scramble. Um, but a really good spot. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, you guys, it'll be a good time for all the members. The West Coast guys get a chance to experience some major golf again. So should be good for them. And the weather, as those of us were in a small text message from Rich. I guess what was that last week, Sunday, Saturday, he sent the wonderful photo of everything sunny in Scottsdale. I think I was in Greensboro at the time in rainy conditions. You were probably battling the rain, and Rich is out there in Phoenix going, sunny for me.
Right. Yeah, early May is a great time to be in Arizona. So we're looking forward to that. I gotta say tonight though, we gotta start. Let's just say the Facebook members group is leading the discussion tonight. We'll just leave it at that. What do you think?
That's fair enough, man. It's something it's kind of interesting, and I'm enjoying it. And you and I have been talking about how we gotta just make sure that we're talking rules all the time, because, man, anytime anybody brings up a rules situation in the members group, it gets fun and feisty pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know whether to get the popcorn or pull out my rules book to answer questions.
Right.
It certainly gets interesting. Let's just start with this. I think this is important to say as a caveat to anything. The I didn't know it was on the rule sheet is not an excuse.
Right.
So all this stuff's on the rule sheet. The OB rule is very clearly printed on the back of your rule sheet. If you've not read it, the back of it's called a hard card or a conditions of competition that lays out the local rules for all APT events, all 800 of our events across the country. If you've read it once, it's good for all 800 events because it does not change. And so the out of bounds rule very specifically says in there that the local rule for out of bounds where you can drop the ball in the fairway is not in play for APT events.
No.
So you cannot use that option ever under any circumstances in any APT event. It's not in play. I'm just waiting for someone to say something in the chat too. I'm just waiting for it. So
that'll get interesting.
You're the handicap czar. Oh, goodness.
But I think that, as you talk about that rule, right? And one of the funny things, and not funny, again, it's all about rules and understanding phrases. If you've worked somewhere, if you were in the military, everybody has their phrases, acronyms and words that, may work, may not, but stroke and distance, right? That's one thing that people go, oh, well, we're playing the stroke and distance rule. And it's like, people think that you take a stroke and you get the distance. And it's like, no. It's the opposite. You're penalized a stroke and you're penalized the distance. That's what that's the phrasing of that is meant to be. So, with that local rule, it's made it, some people, I can understand how it can happen, but it's, again, to reiterate that simple phrasing means you're penalized the stroke, you're penalized your distance that the ball went. So
and it's super easy too, just to make it clear. So if I'm teeing off and there's like, let's just, Alderucci's in the house right now. So I got kicked out of the field, so I don't get to hit a tee shot with the UConn ball tomorrow. Although I may hit one with the first group just for fun. But there's a road.
Hang on. I got to interrupt here. That needs to be 4, please. Now driving Matt Minder, and it's going to be the honorary tee shot.
100%. I'm still ripping driver at the first green. So, but for the purpose of the rules, and I think this is important to take a good discussion tonight, so people feel free to jump into the chat. I think it's a good conversation. But there's a road and a fence that defines out of bounds on number 1 at Omni to the left, which without stretching is probably where my ball is going to go. So if I'm playing a round of golf and the ball's over by that fence, if it may be out of bounds, the first thing I need to do is go back to my cart and get another golf ball and say, hey, guys, I'm going to hit a provisional in case that ball's out of bounds. Now, correct. So I'm going to hit the second one, near the green, because that's what you do with the second guy, because the second guy is good. So if my ball's not in bounds, my provisional is now the ball in play. And that would have been my third shot, right, Fegley?
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, now, because I'm just playing one hole with Christian, that's a good example for that. But let's say it's a tournament play and you snap hook the first one OB up by the green. Well, I'm probably not going to want to do it a second time, so I'm going to take a 5-iron with my provisional ball and put it on the fairway 120 yards from the green. Now, the question, Matt, for you is, can I play my provisional from the middle of the fairway up to the green when I think my ball might be out of bounds next to the green?
100%. You are allowed to advance your provisional golf ball to the point where you think your ball that you hit the provisional for is in play somewhere or not in play.
Correct.
You're given that opportunity to get to that point, to progress.
Which is key. And how long do I have to look for my golf ball that's over by the fence?
7 minutes. Oh, wait, no, 3 minutes.
3 minutes. It's 3 minutes. That's still the little hand that ticks, tick, ticks, goes around the clock 3 times.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
180 seconds.
You know what I'm saying? The second hand. Phil, you know what I'm trying to say here. So Phil can't be on the live tonight. He doesn't have his, he doesn't have this going on. So Nathan brings up a good comment in the chat. When you're playing a provisional ball, have a different number and a different mark on it and announce to your playing partners what it is.
Yep.
Let's just talk about ways that make people think you're a cheater. Number 1, people that don't mark their golf ball.
In some way. Put a dot on it, circle a number.
Have a smiley face, write your girlfriend's name on it.
Or your other girlfriend's name on it and get confused. I don't know.
Write your dog on it.
Exactly.
Logo is a mark, but you should still mark it beyond the logo. Okay. Best practices. We're talking about best practices here.
Best practices. But, I mean, who's really going to play with a Yukon ball? But
get a Sharpie. Correct. Yukon, ugh. It sucks. One comment I wanted to bring up from this is a good rule when we say a scorecard length. Is that folded or unfolded? It is unfolded. It is unfolded.
That's good.
Good question.
Yep. We need Jody on to sit here and write our legislative rules and be all lawyerly,
Yeah. Ways that people think you're cheating. Number 2, carry a towel when you go look for your ball.
Oh.
He's not wrong.
I haven't heard.
So it happens. But that's the biggest rule, out of bounds.
Yes.
Let's cover that. We never play the USGA local rule. In fact, I think it's dumb that they put it in the rule book. It's not meant for tournament play. The USGA says that it's not meant for tournament play. We're never going to use it on the APT. So if there's ever any question, show them the recording of this call. Or just show them any of our rule sheets. It's all printed on the back. It's the first thing on the card.
Hey, we actually did the rule stuff in the beginning too. So, hey.
We did. So that's funny. We're listening to place today. One rule sheet instead of
one rule sheet. You're allowed to. Well, can I go horizontal or vertical? Doesn't matter. Anyway,
doesn't matter.
Figure it out.
That's pretty.
Take the hypotenuse. Diagonal, whatever. Anyhow.
But yeah, so there's that. Should we just go ahead and cover the penalty area drop while we're here? Because that's the other one that, I'll just be honest, some people just need to. And here's the thing, some of I'm going to call them the rules people. That's the most respectful thing I can say. Or well, this just is how it is in amateur tours, blah, 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 blah. I will tell you, I've played in 15 U.S. Open qualifiers in my life, and it's this – and trust me, I've seen these same problems. So we're just going to keep talking about the rules, and we're going to educate people. I had a guy in my group at a U.S. Open qualifier get disqualified once for taking 2 club length lateral relief from a yellow penalty area. And he was 3 under through 12 and 2 within the cut line.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was bad. I felt kind of bad for him, except that I didn't. You know what I mean? I was like, really, dude?
Oh,
and that was after the 2 people in his group argued with him for way longer than the amount of time that it took for him to look.
You would have.
And we're like, dude, just please play 2 balls.
Just be like, dude, trust me, please. What do you mean? Just please.
Yeah, let's just say he didn't stick around to buy any beers after the round.
No. Oh, man, that's brutal.
So anyways, red penalty area. First, And most important thing about a red penalty area, you get relief from where, Fegley?
Point of entry.
Yes. Not point where it landed.
Not point of result or point of where it is.
Point where it crossed. Where it
Entry.
last crossed the margin of the penalty area. In a red penalty area, how many options do you have?
Wait, we're down to 2 now, right? Got rid of the weird third one. We're 2. Yeah, you got rid of the third one. Well, no, there's always 3. You can always 4. Number 1, replay the shot.
Yeah, right.
You can go back to the T, I believe, is the fourth
Well,
one.
that's what I mean. Replay the shot.
No, you can play as it lies.
Oh, okay. All right. So
you can
first,
replay the shot. You can play as it lies. You can replay the shot. You get 2 club links, no closer from the point it crossed. And 4 is you can take the option of the flag and the point it crossed, draw a straight line, and you go as far back as you want.
Yes.
So there's the 4.
Okay, so 1, play it as it lies. 2, replay from previous position. 3, we're doing 2 club lengths from the point of entry, no closer to the hole. And 4, back of line relief, keeping that point between you and the flag stick and go far back as you want.
Yeah, like I feel like we should do a live on the golf course one of these times.
No. What's important to remember about they changed this in the 2024 version. You used to get, like, if you did back of line relief, that's your point. Like, you got to drop there. You used to get 2 club lengths on top of that. But now it's just you keep that point between you and you go back and you drop it.
Right. Correct. And then yellow penalty area, only 3 options.
Play it. Yep.
Go back from the point you last hit your shot.
Mm-hmm.
Or use the back on the line relief. You don't get 2 club lengths.
Or if they have
or there could be a drop zone potentially. But drop zones are never in play unless it's on the rule sheet.
Yes. So the interesting thing, and Rick brought this up, Captain Net brought this up. Can I move a red penalty stake if it inhibits my swing? If you're not in the penalty area. What?
Yeah, but you can move penalty stake wherever your ball is because it's man-made. You can move penalty stake anywhere.
Okay, all right.
Because penalty stake just identifies that there is a penalty area. It isn't part of it.
Right,
An out-of-bounds stake you can't ever touch.
No. Yellow or white. Yellow. Jeez. So, white, never touch white.
So.
And you don't use the T in the drop zone.
Shots fired.
Oh, man. That's rough.
Oh, I hope one of our competitors is watching tonight.
Oh,
I won't name him. I'm nice. The other thing that I think is important, let's see. We need to talk about it because Kevin Ungarella talked about if they flied in the woods with no stakes in sight. So that being said, this is where you need to talk to your chapter owner because in the rules of golf, and we argue about this, and there's people in the members group all the time that say this isn't USJ rules. It's absolutely USJ rules. I haven't unpacked my rule book for the weekend yet. It's still in the trailer, but I'm going to summarize it. But the rule of the penalty area states that the committee can define any area of the golf course where a ball will be difficult to be found or difficult to be played. The committee has the option to declare that area penalty area. So, for example, in St. Louis, we declare fescue that's usually 18 to 20 inches high in the summer and thick and full of things that might eat you. We declare that a penalty area because you're not going to find it in there. And if you do find it, you're not going to be able to play it anyway. So we declare that area to be a red penalty area. So depending on the rules for the day, which is why you need to pay attention at the first tee and read your rule sheet. And if that area is declared a penalty area, it's just like you hit it into the creek that's marked red. You can play it as it lies. You can go play it again from where you played your last shot. You can take the point it crossed into the margin of that penalty area, and that penalty area will be defined with a margin. Usually it's the edge of what we're defining it at. So in St. Louis, it would be the edge of the fescue. Or you could take a line between the flag and the last point your ball crossed that area and go straight back as far as you want. You take any of those 4 options.
Yep.
So those would be your options in that situation.
I do have a joke, or not a joke, but something funny to point out. Kobe Walters was like, D4 players explains the rules now. I'm like, if it's Steve Daniels, yes.
Yes. That's very fair.
There are some guys. It's very interesting how it goes one of 2 ways in our higher flights. So there are guys that know the rule book
correct,
backwards,
like a no
forwards, upside down, and then there are guys that think they know it and make it up on the fly. So just, I understand it is tough to find a trustworthy voice there.
Yep. Here's a good one to talk about because this is a local rule we put in the hard card. So I'm going to quiz you on this one, Fegley. Or you can quiz me because I wrote the rule, so I know what it says. But sprinkler head or irrigation box. So if I'm straddling a sprinkler head but my feet aren't touching it and it doesn't interfere with my swing, do I get relief?
No.
Okay. So if I'm standing on it though, I get relief, or if the path of my swing is going to be impacted, I get relief. Correct?
Correct.
What if I'm close to the green and there's a sprinkler head between me and the hole? Do I get relief?
It's the 2x2 rule.
It's the 2x2 rule, which, by the way, for those of you that like to say that what we're doing is not a USGA rule, it's a model local rule, and we've put it in by the book.
It's used. PGA Tour uses this one too. It's if a sprinkler head is within 2 club lengths of the edge of the green, so 2 driver lengths of the edge of the green, and you're within 2 club lengths of that sprinkler head, you are allowed to take line of sight relief to the left or to the right, whichever one you want to do.
Essentially line of play, right? So your play is not correct. Biggest things before someone asks, 2 club lengths. Is that my putter or could it be any club in my bag?
Any club in your bag.
Any club in your bag.
Well, long putters, no. If you carry the Bernhard longer putter.
The Bernhard longer putter. Love it. You can't make fun of it, though, because he putts way better than you do.
Yes.
Oh, we got a live question coming in.
If there's damage on the green from somebody, like they swipe their putter and put in a big old huge chunk in the green, and that's between you and the hole, do you get relief or no?
If a player did it, no.
You can fix it. You can repair any damage, but you don't get relief from damage.
Correct. Yeah. And that's why we don't throw our putters on the green. That would be a code of conduct violation.
Yep.
So, I don't know. I mean, we're kind of rolling on the rules.
Yeah. Well, okay. So does Kevin did it feel like we answered Kevin's question talking about the red penalty area stuff and his 300-yard drive, which a lot of people think they hit, but they don't?
Right.
And that wasn't a shot at him or anybody. It's just a funny general golf thing. I hope if he can just say, yeah, we got it covered there, because that's the red penalty thing, right? It needs to be
absolutely
defined. It needs to be defined, and then you treat it as red. So whenever it crossed, that's your point,
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Well, Chris hasn't yelled.
Okay. Well, let's do Chris, and then we got to do, in my opinion, one of the most important rules, and you already stumbled upon it. It's the second ball. So.
Yes. Well, I'd say Chris has got a commercial for us, I'm sure. So we'll do this, and then we'll do the second ball rule is really important.
Yeah.
Two under. Quality fabrics. No roll waistband. Joey pouch. Elevate and separate. No chafing. What more could you ask for?
So I got to tell you, Fagley, I texted Jack last night. So Chris and I are in Cincinnati. We had dinner with wonderful people at Sterling Cut Glass last night.
Oh, that's right.
So we're having a nightcap drink in the bar, and we're watching reruns of the 2014 PGA Championship final round, and the only thing I can notice is that poor Ricky Fowler is like sweating out his pants, like really, really bad. Like you remember like the early 2000s, right? When everything was cotton, there was no performance fabric yet. And I literally text Jack, and this is all I said. I said, "Are you watching the Golf Channel reruns right now?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "I see why Ricky endorses 2 under." And he starts laughing, and he goes, "That's exactly how it started." And I just laughed really hard. So, because obviously they're at Valhalla, they were at Valhalla in 2014. They'll be at Valhalla again here in a couple weeks, PGA Championship, which will be awesome. But anyway, get into the 2-ball thing. I think the 2-ball thing's good.
Okay, so if you have a situation where you're not sure what to do or you're in a disagreement with the group.
Oh my gosh. Confrontations on the golf course. This is a whole segment of topics.
Yeah, but there's an easy solution. It's like, hey man, just play 2 balls. So what does that mean? Man, I think I get relief from this situation. I'm stacked up against the out of bounds fence. It's a fence. I get relief. I gotta take relief. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, man, but just do me a favor. Play it as it lies.
Yeah. And if somebody, and here's the thing, and this goes all the way from the top level, to mini tour events that have played in, because I'll be honest, the only players that get to play with a rules official on every hole is the PGA Tour. Every other level of golf does not have a rules official on every hole.
There's one other exception. The San Francisco City, if you make the semifinals, they put one with you. It's the coolest thing freaking ever. It's amazing. Anyhow.
The point is like what you're talking about, people are like, I don't know if I want to do that. That's not really legit tournament stuff. No, like done it a million times in a US Open qualifier. I've done it in mini tour events. I've done it all over the place. And the point is part of it being a gentleman's game is, number one, if you think someone's violating the rules, you have a duty to tell them. So, yes. And I'll be honest, if you want to be a good citizen of the golf community, tell them before they violate the rule. Don't wait to score and go, they did this, you should DQ them. Because I'll be honest, that comes to me all the time, and it kind of makes me mad because I'm like, well, why didn't you have the conversation with the player? Right. Now, we'll still go through and enforce the rule, but part of being a gentleman's game is having the conversation. So the first step is, if you see somebody doing something or getting ready to do something that's dumb, that is a rule violation, say, hey man, like, I'm not saying I'm right, but here's what I understand the rule to be. Let's just play 2 balls and get it right. Don't argue about it. And the person, if someone asks you to play 2 balls because they think the rule is different, say, hey man, no problem, thank you. So when that happens, what's step 1 when you decide to play 2 balls? What do you need to do?
Declare which one is your golf ball, like which one you're playing.
I think to score this.
I think I get relief. I want to take my relief. That is my golf ball. That step one I'm taking relief. Right?
Step 2, you have to play both balls out to the hole.
All the way.
All the way. Now, if you're in 3 through 5 and you're going to make like a 9 and a 10, you can still stop at triple.
Right. You can still, yes.
Caveat. But you have to play both balls through. You can't hit the golf ball you want to score with and hit it to 3 feet and go, well, I'm not going to do it. Once you say you're going to play 2 balls, you got to play them both out.
Yes.
And step 3 is what?
Step 3 is review it at the scoring tent.
Review it at the scoring tent. You've got to take it to scoring, even if you made the same score on both balls.
Right.
Because it's practice, because we're going to give you the right rulings, so you'll know what it is for the next time.
Correct. That's exactly what I was going to say. It's an education piece at that point. Make sure you learn from it, so then next time it happens, which there's so many circumstances that happen all the time. Now you've learned, and now you can be like, no, I had a ruling. I'm going to accept the fact that I have to play it up against the out of bounds fence because I know that I'm not allowed to take relief. And some guys are like, no, you can't take relief. No, I don't want to take relief. I'm hitting it where it lies.
The group doesn't get to decide and make the ruling. You just play 2 balls.
Yep.
I will tell you, the number one thing that drives me crazy on a Monday morning after a Sunday tournament is getting a call from someone about some ruling that they didn't have enough guts to talk about on Sunday.
Yes.
don't do it. And then complain about like, well, somebody needs to protect the field. Yes, it was you. You didn't do it.
Right.
Like, do not be that guy. And in fact, if you called me with that recently, you've probably seen a side of me that I don't like to bring out on the Thursday Night Lives. Because stop complaining about the integrity of our tour when you're the reason it doesn't have integrity. You're the problem. If you're calling me on Monday morning to complain about something you saw that didn't say about at the tournament, you are the problem.
But Matt, I don't want to be that guy.
Tell him to play 2 balls. It's too simple. Tell him to play 2 balls. If someone asks you to play 2 balls, say, great. It's going to be a teaching opportunity. Be gracious about it. Play 2 balls, and then talk about it in scoring. That's all you have to do.
Yep.
Everybody stays friends.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because I'll be honest, I was in a U.S. Open qualifier about to do something that would have got me disqualified a year that I made it into a playoff, and somebody played to play 2 balls, and yes, was I mad? Absolutely. But guess what? I played 2 balls, and I made it to a playoff. I lost the playoff, of course, because that's how life works. But you know what? I got a really cool opportunity to play a 6-hole playoff, because somebody actually took the time to say, and yeah, I was a little ticked at first, sure. But at the end of the day, like, I got to turn in a score in a big time tournament and got a great experience because somebody was willing to say something. So you don't have to be a jerk about it.
Yep.
And the point is, guess what? At the end of the day, if you ask them to play 2 balls and they tell you to pound sand, bring it up at scoring and start it by saying, look, I asked him to play 2 balls, but here's what he did. If you tell me that, I'm going to feel very, very good about the ruling because at least we were trying to be relational. The reason we literally have a page of conditions of competition printed on the back of every rule sheet at like 7-point font is so that you have everything that you need to understand the local rules for the day.
Yep.
Read them. Yep. And if you don't read them, keep them with you so when there's an issue and you don't know, read them then. There's lots of good things in there.
Well, but for pace of play purposes, we would like people to be first. We don't need novel reading on the golf course between,
Right.
Oh man.
It's all good. But don't be the guy that argues. You know what I mean? Like the deciding where to drop is not a point to get in a fist fight. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just play 2 balls. That's all you got to do. Mm-hmm. But recap the 3 things you have to do when you play 2 balls.
Declare your ball, your primary ball, the one that you want to score with. I think I get relief. I'm taking that golf ball. Play it to the hole. Second one is what do we do? What's point 2?
Play both balls out through the entire.
Oh yeah. Sorry, that was hole out both shots. Or if you're in Division 3, 4, 5, declare your triple. And when you get to scoring, this is the important one. Get to scoring, discuss it.
No matter what the two holes were.
Right, no matter what, because we want to. It's an educational opportunity.
Correct. Some good stuff, Egley.
Yeah,
the 2 balls.
Absolutely.
I got one for you.
Uh-oh. We got one from the peanut gallery.
I feel like Alderucci's going to try to stumble us because we're on live here. He's putting his Yukon hat on for this. Go ahead. Say hi, everybody. Christian Alderucci.
So I'm at a tee box for par 5. I put my ball down between the 2 tee box or the 2 tee markers. Guy standing dead across looking down the line. I hit my tee shot and he goes, "You're over the line." And I said, "No, I wasn't." And he goes, "You were." I said, "Okay, prove it." "Why didn't you say something before I hit the tee shot?" And he couldn't prove it because my tee went flying away. So now what do you do there, Fagley?
I'm glad that he said Fagley after that, so I don't have to answer this.
Man, I'm stumped. I'm like, I don't know. Why are you being such a
Yeah. Well,
hey?
number one, don't be that guy.
Right. Yeah, Joe Arnold. Hit him with your driver.
Number two is
He was an Illinois fan.
when it comes down to it, it's your integrity. So,
Right.
you know, now I will tell you from playing thousands of rounds of tournament golf at a high level, anytime you're close to the tee marker and somebody's standing there, I'll look and say, hey, is this okay? Before I even go through my routine. I don't take any chances on that stuff.
Yep.
That would be the best practice.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to say if you two are in an altercation about it, it's like the situations we've had on. There have been some rules exception issues on the PGA Tour. It's you and your integrity, and if they can't prove it or you can't prove it otherwise, it sticks with what you. I was behind it. I teed up behind it. I know I did. It is what it is. You know, I don't think there's anything from a rules perspective that you can.
No, I mean, Patrick Reed got away with it.
Good point. Digging in the sand.
Oh, I'm not calling you Patrick Reed, but
yeah.
So I hope that he's not watching because I'd hate to be the next person he tried to sue. So.
Oh man. So yeah, that's good. I mean, dude, this is good because it was kind of like, you and I were talking earlier. It's like, where's today's discussion going to go? And it's like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll start with rules and see where it's going. And it's like 35, 40 minutes in. We're like still.
No, we're still going. Rick wants to know about what about teeing up from the wrong tee marker?
It's very simple. 2 shots.
2 shots. Correct it. You have to correct it.
Yep.
So, Rodney has a good question. Do you actually tee off from the tee color like whites and blues, or do we use where the APT tees are located? Our APT tees mark the tee box that you're playing for the hole.
Yep. Unless it's the only thing there.
Right, which should not be the case. We trade against that.
Sometimes it does happen, though.
But sometimes it happens in a rare instance on a course where a tee marker's missing, and you have to understand and act as if the tee marker was another tee marker was there.
Yeah. And here's the big thing about teeing off from the wrong tee marker. You need to correct it as quickly as you can. So, for example, for whatever reason, you were like, wait, I'm playing the whites today and not the golds or the blues or pinks or whatever. And you discover it the 3 holes in, fix it. Then you got to go back and fix it.
Right.
Meaning replay whatever you had. But
here's the point.
Multiple holes.
Here's the point. It's printed on your scorecard.
Yeah, so don't.
It's printed on the rule sheet. Just pay attention. Please pay attention. Like, we literally put it everywhere for you to know. And I know your example, Christian, and I don't want to have that come back on TV. So
now we're going to talk about the
cart path drop. I was a high school girls rules official for a state tournament, and I had parents in tears over the cart path drop rule.
Oh, because they had to drop in a bush as opposed to the nice, pretty grass because the bush was the nearest point of relief.
Oh, my gosh. So, couple things on the cart path rule. Number 1, where your ball is sitting is important on the cart path. So, mark it. You're going to find the nearest point of relief, not on the cart path. You get your stance, and you put your club down, like the club you're going to hit. That's the point where the ball would be. You have to take complete relief. What does complete relief mean, Fegley?
You don't have yourself touching, like your feet touching the cart path still.
Or your swing.
Or your swing still being impeded by it. You need to have complete relief from the path.
And it's the nearest point. And you don't get to pick which side you want to take relief. It's the nearest point of complete relief. Now, with this caveat, for those of you in Utah or Arizona at Kierland, if we have the desert rule in play, which means we're going to make the desert a red penalty area. We may or may not at Kierland. I don't know, because Kierland doesn't really have a lot of spots that are problematic.
That's a good point.
But the point is if we're playing the desert rule and the desert becomes a penalty area, can you take cart path relief into a penalty area?
Not into a penalty area. No.
Correct. And which means if your ball's in the cart path, you would be on the other side that isn't desert.
Right.
Or the nearest point of the golf course that's not desert where you can take relief. Now, if your ball's in the desert when we're playing the desert as a penalty area and you're standing on the cart path, do you get relief?
No. Because your
There you
golf
go.
ball is
in
in
the penalty area.
a defined red penalty area. So the relief that you would get in the general area goes away, and you take your relief as your ball is in a red penalty area. So the relief you get option 2 is
Yep.
hit it where it lies. It goes back to the 4 options of the red. That's what happens then.
Correct. Well, Christian wants to know, can you play it off of the cart path?
Absolutely. All day, every day.
Done it all the time.
Yep.
It's not good for your club.
Not good for the clubs. Well, depends.
Yeah. So
Man, Arnold's on a roll.
He
Man,
is
I'm
on a
going to
roll.
have to have my glasses out on.
the cart path rule, I think, is important to understand. I think that's
That's another good one. It's very good.
What are the other ones that we see?
Those are the big major ones. We talked about red. We talked about yellow. We talked about white.
This is a good one here. Joe Hess. I'm going to put this on here.
Okay.
So, played turn, guy's ball in a cart path. He had a steep bank directly behind him. His closer relief would have been what it caused. If he moved, he'd be going towards the green. I think what he means is if you took relief where he had to take relief, the ball wouldn't stay. In which case, if that's his closest point of relief, it's from that point, he's going to be placing it the closest spot where the ball would stay.
Yeah. But also, if it's a steep bankment, because I actually read about one of these. I don't know. It sounds very similar to one that I read in one of the golf publications. The committee should define that situation to keep you from a problem. But yeah, it might be a situation where there are situations where you don't get relief, right? So,
or that it may not make sense for you to take relief,
or it may not make sense, right? Like,
because you might have to go into a tree.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And that's just bad luck. It sucks. You don't get relief from the tree. Dan Ehlers makes a good point and goes, so let's say you're right-handed, the ball's on your right half of the cart path. If you go to the right plus your stance is that farther than if you went to the left side because the ball will be right next to the path. It could be. It's whatever the nearest point of relief is. And so you determine your point of relief by taking complete relief, taking your club and putting a tee down where the ball would be, and then checking the other side. Now, do you have to check both sides? If it's obvious, no, but you are responsible for taking relief in the correct position.
Yep.
So,
Question.
Hold on. We got questions in here, Christian. Give us a second. Going through. So, if you move your debris and your ball wiggles but did not roll off the spot, are you good? That's a friendly question.
No, that's fine. As long as the ball has to move.
Ball has to move.
Has to move. So if it oscillates or, you're good.
And just be thankful that you don't have a million super HD cameras trained on your golf ball at all times.
Right. So, yeah. Oh. But yeah, just be a good judge.
Here's a question. Do you get relief on a bridge? Usually not. Depends on how it's marked. Right. But usually the bridge is marked as part of the penalty area.
Right. Usually there'd be red on this side, red or yellow on this side, red or yellow on that side. The bridge goes through the red area.
Right.
So it is what it is. The relief you get from at that point in time is your one stroke, penalty relief from a red or a yellow. So
yeah, and the question is for the people asking, go to the USGA rules of golf and look at the definition for ball at rest moved, and that's going to answer your question specifically.
Yep.
So there is.
Yeah, because we can go down.
We could go down that rabbit hole for like 3 hours, but if you want to know what that means, the definitions in the USGA rules are the cheat code to understanding the rules quickly. Is understand what they mean, what the terms mean, and you'll understand the rules a lot quicker. That's correct. That's free advice from my Golf Academy rules teacher, and he was definitely right. Rick, good question. Also, if you're on an embankment and your ball is up against a rake, what is the relief rule? Obviously, you relief your ball's up against a rake because rake's obstruction.
Yep.
And if the ball won't sit there, you're going to place it at the nearest point where the ball would actually stay.
Yeah. So that's another thing is down, you go down the slope. Again, that's another thing. Just be observant when you're on the golf course and you actually want to, go back to the way it was done before 2020. Yep. Rake and think about where the rake goes, that it's not going to interfere with stuff, which is generally
right
at the bottom.
We're answering a ton of questions tonight.
Off to the side.
This is a good one. Brush pile on a course from a freshly cut down tree. Do you get relief?
It's always a fun situation because
I'm saying yes, because if it's cut down, it's piled for removal.
Correct. It's this whole definition of what's called piled for removal. So yes, I'm gonna say without getting down to a deep rabbit hole on that one, yes.
Yeah, we'll try to avoid the rabbit hole for the next
correct.
Let's see what else we got.
Does not address the ball, takes a practice swing and clips it. Where did that take place? That's the $1 million question to Emmett. On the teeing area. Teeing area?
No penalty.
No penalty.
Put the ball back on at 13 at the Masters.
Yeah. Teeing area is perfectly fine. General area.
Or other than putting green. Putting green.
Anywhere else. Right. Anywhere else on the golf course.
Anywhere else on the golf course, you just had it's one shot if you replace it. It's two if you don't.
Correct. So the option is then to replace it, take your one stroke, move on. So tee and green, the big thing to think about in a lot of things as the rules base is it's the definition of the area, right? Like you were just talking about it.
Yes.
The teeing area, the general area, the penalty area.
By general area, he means everywhere on the golf course that's not a teeing area, putting green, or penalty area.
Or it's I always get bunkers still classified. Bunkers are still classified, right?
Bunkers. See, that's the weird in the rules, but yes, correct.
Okay, bunkers are still classified too. So that's the.
Here's a great one, Fegley. This one gets me mad every week. The answer is no. A group does not get to determine what's ground under repair ever. If you're in a situation where you think it should be ground under repair and it's not marked, play two balls, take out your smartphone, take a picture, and send it to the committee. Mm-hmm. Quickest way to do it. Don't argue about it. Don't discuss it. If you think you should get relief, say, hey, I'm going to play two balls. Take a picture, document where it's at. So if we want to come out and look at it, we can. Here's the general rule, though, especially if you're playing in a national major where I'm the rules official. If the area is in rough, you're never getting ground under repair, ever. So, because I will tell you what my rules officials told me growing up, you shouldn't have hit it there. However, there are some spots in the fairway. If there's something that's weird, play two balls, take a picture, completely fine. But don't just say, hey, you get relief. That is not protecting the field. That's actually, technically, we could DQ all four of you for that.
What is casual water?
Yep. Well, so here's the interesting thing, because we actually did that. You guys actually did that at Rams Hill. It was defined in the rule sheet because there was one or two fairways that had some growth issues. So it was defined in the rule sheet that says the committee is stating holes 13 and 14, whatever it was. If you're in a thinly, I forget exactly how it was defined. I'm trying to be as specific as I can. But if you're in a thin spot that looks like it should be clearly ground under repair. And if you have any questions with that, obviously reach out to the committee. But that's a defining characteristic of.
Yeah. Alderucci brought one in, casual water. That's a good thing. What defines casual water?
Well, the way I've always been taught or thought of it is if I put my feet down and not squishing them, not moving them. Sorry, I moved them in my I moved my feet and you guys can't see it, but anyway, I'm not moving my feet, right? I set my feet and then there's water, right?
Yep.
That defines it. Now, if I move my feet and water comes up, that's that defining. It's still. Is there water available still? That's how I've always. That's how I treat fat guys already get casual water. That's funny, but
Right.
That's the way I've had it in my.
Yeah.
If you're taking relief, vaguely, from anything, from a car path or anything else, should you have another member of that foursome come over and watch you do it?
So this is another wonderful, great thing about golf. You don't have to.
But communicate.
But it's always a good idea.
Communicate.
Know, right? Yeah.
Like, it's to the point, like, and I'll be honest, this is something I do as the owner of the tour because I never want to be accused of anything. It's
Right.
to the point, like, if I go down where my ball might be in the water, I literally will say, hey, I'm taking this ball with me if I need to take a drop, and I will put it in my pocket. And when I come back to the cart, I will literally show the guy, if I find my golf ball, I will show him the other golf ball. Say, hey, here's the golf ball that was in my pocket. And I will make him watch me put it back. Sometimes I'll toss it to him so he has it in his hand. Because you just don't want to go down that road. Like, golf is a game of integrity, and it requires people that act with integrity for it to be great. So
that's funny.
Sometimes it's good to go the extra mile instead of thinking, well, what do I have to do? It's no, what should I do to ensure that I'm doing the right thing?
To ensure that I'm not getting questioned. And it's very funny because I do the exact same thing. If I'm in a situation where I need an extra ball, I go, guys, I got one in the cart. If you need to check me out, make sure I got two of the same when I come back up out of here.
100%. I show it before it goes in. I show it when it comes back.
Yep.
Just that way, there's just never a question. Yep. And I think that's important. Here's an interesting thing. Lift, clean, in place. There's all kinds of problems with lift, clean, in place because people think lift, clean, in place is and they get to do whatever they want with lift, clean, in place. And it drives me stinking crazy. And thank God we're at Bedford where it is perfect right now, so we're not going to have to deal with it. So that being said, we're playing lift, clean, in place. Now, part of it's on our guys. It's lift, clean, in place in closely mowed areas. More so than your own fairway. It's lift, clean, in place in closely mowed areas would be the correct terminology, which we'll work on correcting. But that means anything that is at fairway height or less. Because people always ask, well, I'm on a collard. Can I do it? Is it fairway height or less? The answer is yes. You can touch it. If the answer is no, you can't touch it.
Right.
That's simple. It's closely mowed areas.
I was like, wait, fairway height, the collar, well, the collar's fringe. The fringe is going to be fairway height. That's fair. I thought you meant the secondary cut at the fairway. I'm like, no.
Fairway height or less. And the other thing about lift, clean, in place, can I roll the ball with my club and lift, clean, in place?
No.
Okay, so it's mark. Now, when we do lift, clean, in place, we give you a little bit of leeway because we give you a scorecard length, which, by the way, is the same thing that the PGA Tour does. In most cases, depending on how wet it is. If it's questionable, they may just do lift, clean, in place. It's the exact same spot. Most of the times, the scorecard length, I've seen it as much as a club length, and the weather conditions are really bad.
Yep.
Typically, at a public golf course, if we're playing lift, clean, in place, it's for a reason. So that's why we give you a scorecard length, because we understand that the course conditions aren't perfect. So, which is why we give you a scorecard length. But you mark your ball, you can clean it, and you get to place it. One time.
How about bunkers?
You can place it multiple times. You just can't make it further than that point.
Right. I'm fine with that.
We actually
can't roll it with your club. It's not.
That was our Division 4 rules expert, Mr. Steve Daniels, alerted that to us a couple weeks. Man, it might have been a month ago.
That's true.
We did go down that rabbit hole. So, So yeah. So you got that one. But to Nathan's point, It's
Right.
lift, clean, in place one time, not 6 times, a scorecard at a time. You can mark it, clean it, put it down, go, wait, that's not the spot I want. I want it over here. As long as you're still within that scorecard length, it's okay. You just can't go scorecard, and
Correct.
give yourself that one.
It's amazing sometimes what people try too. Drives me absolutely bonkers. But the other thing, Mancha brings in a comment from Phoenix. Okay, when somebody asks you to move your mark on the green, like just use the putter, not the shaft of the putter.
Wow.
A full putter length.
Yeah, man. In extreme circumstances, I can see that. But yeah, generally it's putter head, because then you're accurate.
And I'm sorry, but if someone needs you to move your mark a full putter length, like let's talk about something else. Like somebody stay with somebody on the putting green for some lessons about starting on an intended line.
Sorry, that's where I'm going, and that one's got me freaking dying right now.
I'm thinking about Chris
Man,
Ireland last year in the Bachelor. And we're like, Chris, at least let us get behind you where we can see the line and the speed. He's like, no, I just want to hit it. Whack.
Sorry, I just
You're
started
right.
as soon as I went
It's
down that path. I was like, how bad of a putter do you have to be to need a whole putter length? Oh man.
God
Boy,
bless
that one had
America.
me
I mean,
going.
that's like something I would do to like Tony Wise in match play with like a 4-footer. I'd be like, can you move that one to the right? Can I get that another one to the right, please? How about one more? And then like end up making the putt, then conceding it. Like as he's trying to move it back, I'm like, are you sure you moved it back 3 times? I thought that was only 2.
Oh,
I mean, that's some serious gamesmanship right there.
The good one I read about recently was a gentleman had a reputation of, again, another golf article. So guy would go up and he'd be like, hey man, can you move it one to the right? And he'd go in and he knew you meant to that right, you're facing right, but he would intentionally move it to the left.
Yes.
And he'd look at you and the guy'd be like, no, the right. He's like, oh, my bad. I thought you'd want it on this side. Like starting to totally mess with you on one.
We don't need to talk about some of the gamesmanship learned over the years. That's probably bad. We don't need that in stroke play events.
No, we don't need that in stroke play. It's just gamemanship and match play.
Frazier has a good one.
All right.
Frazier.
Absolutely. And next, who has
to Phil should have been on this live.
This is good. So I want to chip onto the green. Player B is still in the cart. You can mark the ball, and anybody can replace it. It doesn't matter.
Just changed, right?
Yes.
It used to be that you had to replace it.
Correct. Now it's anybody. So it's just basically, I think they all classify it the way I understand it, and I'm going to get my rule numbers wrong, so I'm not even going to quote the rule. But it's basically
the rule numbers
moved outside of, no matter how you slice it, it's perfectly fine to mark a ball. Generally, again, what the general consensus is what you want to do is, hey, can I mark your ball? Yeah. Just that simple conversation. So then there's just no disagreement. Again, it's like the same thing we were talking about with rules when you take drops and all that other stuff. Hey man, my ball's on the path. I'm going to take relief. You want to come look at it? No, dude, I can see it from here. You're good. Whatever that happens to be.
Here's the thing. Just be considerate and over communicate. That's part of golf. Like, especially playing golf on a high level, because we talk about these things and we want it to have like a tour-like experience. I can assure you that if Ricky Fowler and Rory McIlroy are playing in a round and there's a rules question, they're talking to each other about it. So if you want to be on a place like a tour experience, this is one of the things that's you don't see on TV a lot. But like if you ever go to a tournament and you see it happen, there's always conversation, especially where a ball crossed, middle of the area. That's a huge thing that they talk about. And it's something as a player that, look, is it worth the extra 20 yards to try to gain advantage if you lose your reputation as a person? No, it's not. So like when it goes in and you're not sure, rely on your group. And yes, sometimes it sucks to have to drop a ball 300 yards from the green on a par 4 because you hooked it 50 yards. But that's golf. It's character building.
Yes, I love that. It's character building. But that's the thing, right? I generally in the same boat, right? I'm always going to err on the side of caution. I've actually had guys go, no, dude, it was way up here. And I'm like, are you sure? Yeah, I saw it cross. It was right at this tree, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, okay,
Yeah, and the easiest way, if you're not sure how to handle this, because it's always a question, I just don't know how to handle it. When there's conflict, it's really simple. When you hit it into a penalty area off the tee, before you leave the tee, instead of telling the story about the date you went on 3 weeks ago, you know what I mean? Or what you had for dinner last night. Talk to your group and say, hey, I think that crossed right about there. What do you guys think? Because 90% of the time, before you leave the tee box, you're already going to know. You're going to know where it's
a rough idea.
And everybody will have a perspective because they just watched it happen from the tee. Have the conversation early. Don't run up 100 yards and then be like, guys, do you think it's okay here? Because they're probably not going to think it's okay there because they don't know the perspective and it just looks weird.
Yeah, now all of a sudden we're confused, right?
Communicate.
It's like everything else. You hit it into the trees, somebody sees it kick. They're like, oh man, that kicked back towards the fairway. Okay, cool. I saw it. Great. I hit it into the red. Where'd it cross? Well, it's that third stake by that little stringy bush. Oh, okay, good. Go up to it. You're good.
And it makes life easier. By the way, you play faster when that happens. Like, be proactive.
Correct. Hey, I know we're at an hour, and the rules have been really fun.
Oh, my gosh. Chris is like, can we cover cart path only? I would just like to point out, I was told this week by one of our members in St. Louis. So we played 36 holes in one day at Norwood Hills, the West Course. It was a beautiful day, but it was cart path only. And that place is set up like a TPC course, meaning the cart paths are far from the fairways all day. Average pace of play, I ran the report, was like 4 hours and 50 minutes for 36 holes. We were done at 6:15 with 2 hours of daylight to spare.
So to that point,
awesome.
What your players were doing is from the cart, they were lasering the flag, getting an estimated distance, taking the club that they hit from that distance, the club that they hit from the distance below, the club that they hit from the distance above, and looking at the angle and going, it might be a little farther, so I'll take another.
Yeah, which, by the way, from a pace of play standpoint, and if you're playing in Bedford, hear this because you're going to hear it again. If you're riding in a cart and your person driving the cart goes to your ball, you should pretend like you're on the cart path and it's cart path only when he stops, meaning you should laser the flag to figure out where you are and do the same thing and walk to your ball and then hit your ball and then have him come pick you up.
Yes.
That will save you 2 minutes a hole, which over the course of 18 holes is the difference between a 4.5 hour round and a 5 hour and 10-minute round.
Don't sit there as a driver either.
Oh my gosh. Like everybody's like, Matt needs another beer. I'm just being honest.
All right.
Because everybody in the members group complains about pace of play all the time.
And again,
all continue to do it. Like I'm telling you, this is the answer.
Well, but again, it comes back to, like we're talking about, the integrity of the rules and the integrity of the competition depends on our fellow players.
Yes.
And the pace of play depends on everybody.
I will tell you this. So I'm sitting at the Masters and we're watching John Rahm, and I forget who Rahm was playing with. Final round. We're sitting on 14T watching 13 green. And they put the pin in this nasty spot on 13. So if you miss the green left, like, good luck. You know what I mean? People were almost putting it in the water from there.
Got it.
Let alone trying to chip it off a downhill lie out of rough. Like, forget it. So Rahm's on the green, and this guy misses the green. He chips it in the water. And so he's trying to figure out what to do, which inevitably was go back to the drop zone that was on the other side of the creek. So what did they do while he was figuring all that out? Everyone else in the group putted, and they kept in pace.
Mhm.
The pros play ready golf more than anyone in the world. Like, please understand, if you don't believe me, go to a PGA Tour tournament and walk around when you're not following Tiger Woods' group or Rory's group. Go watch any of the other normal groups that are playing. They're playing ready golf all day to stay in position because they realize the second they get out of position, they're getting penalized and fined.
Yep.
So the biggest thing on pace of play, and then I'll get off my soapbox. Everybody wants, when we come up and penalize somebody, everybody's like, why didn't you warn me? Here's your warning in pace of play. It's built in. If you're not waiting on the group in front of you, you're in danger of getting a penalty because you're behind. Meaning, in tournament golf, we have 128 players at Bedford. Proper pace of play would mean that on every par 4, your group should be waiting in the fairway on the group in front of you to putt out for at least 30 to 60 seconds. If you're not waiting on them, your group is behind and you're causing pace of play to get worse for the rest of the day.
Which should mean whoever's furthest away has been dropped off. They have their 3 clubs. They have their rangefinder. The other person has driven the cart to their ball. All those good, fun stuff. All right, now, real quick, I want to transition because there's a lot of the Bedford guys on here. So I want to talk about and explain the 4-ball thing tomorrow and how we're doing the gross. So there's going to be, those of you that saw the email that came out, there is an optional contest. So what we're going to do and what we've done is we've put people in pods, and you're going to have a gross contest within your pod. So the 4, whatever was in your email list, the other 4 teams you're with, those are your gross competitors in your pod. So we felt like, everybody goes to a tournament, right? And if you're in the upper flight, you always have the team that's got 2 Division I guys, and it might be 2 Division II guys. It's like, man, I don't have a chance. We're 2 guys. So what we did is we split it up. So there's going to be combined groups with closer handicaps. And those groups, like my group, and there's another group that has a big spread. We're in a pod together with some other gentlemen. So it's trying to even out the field and make that gross competition something of a smaller individual event.
I just feel bad if somebody's in your pod tomorrow, Fegley, because your nickname's about to be Nelly.
Dude, I've got Mr. Travis Wortliff and him and his partner.
I'm going to start calling you Nelly Fegley. You win tomorrow, I'm calling you Nelly Fegley.
If I win tomorrow, the handicap chairman's going to be in trouble.
I mean, you're already in a little bit of trouble.
Well, I mean, look, I think the scores it's going to take this weekend to win are definitely going to be on the low end of the division ranges. So whoever wins this event this weekend is definitely going to be in those low level index.
The interesting piece to me, though, and here's what I want to say about what we've been doing with the handicaps, right? And you can see it now as we're doing the handicap review. By the way, we asked Blue Golf to develop some stuff for us. So if you're looking through the profiles of people as you all are doing your whole random checks on people, because we know you all do it.
Individual research.
We had Blue Golf put a blue validated check mark next to your name in your profile if your handicap is validated. So when you're spying on all your other APT members, you can see who's validated and who's not.
Sweet.
If you're validated, don't have to worry about getting DQ'd. You're not going to get DQ'd for anything.
Yep.
If you're unvalidated, we're still obviously working through the whole handicap process. Bringing you in at the 12-month low of your GIN, and monitoring through the entire time. But the point is our flights are truer this year than we've had them in any of the years I've ran golf tournaments before here or now. And we're seeing that because you're not showing up at a tournament and, a D2 guy is shooting 69 on his way to D1 because, he lied about his handicap that was a +1 and he signed up for D2 and we let him.
Yep.
So I did get a great email today from a guy complaining his first event.
Oh yeah, it's all good though.
Handicap's a 7, and he thinks he should be entitled to play in D3. Here's the answer: if you're coming into our tour and you're not validated, and your GIN is a 7, get comfortable in Division 2, because if you're going to tell the world that you're a 7, that's where you're going to play on our tour.
Yeah.
I don't care that you tell me that you give yourself 4-footers, then you bump the ball. We do not care. The only thing we care about is that you tell the world that you're a 7, which means if you're brave enough to tell the whole world that you're a 7, and you tell your wife that you're a 7 when you come home from playing with the boys, you can play in Division 2 with all of us like you're a 7.
Yes. Now,
We're
if
not
over
responsible
time,
for the fact that you fudge your handicap.
if over time your APT index rises to the appropriate level, we'll have a discussion at that point in time.
Correct.
But
100%.
you know,
I'm in 5-3. Does that mean I'm in Division 3?
No. Sorry.
hey, Mr. 8.4.
So this is great. Anyways, any last questions? Because we're going over time. Chris isn't yelling at us though because he's cooking tacos over here in the house.
Oh,
We're
nice.
kind of having a road show today. It's kind of nice.
Nice. All right.
And I haven't said anything about match shorts.
That's true. So, any other questions coming in? It's been a good night, Fegley. We might have to do this again.
Yeah.
Oh, Rodney thinks I'm fired up. I'm not fired up at all.
He's gonna have a stroke. He's not fired up. To quote,
I'm just being honest on it because like everybody wants to argue about it. So we're just giving truth tonight.
hey, I don't know why he's not here. I hope whatever's going on, Mr. Lambert, you're doing all right, brother, because I saw you on the list. I thought we were going to be able to shake hands. So whatever you got going on, brother, we do wish you were here, but get better. Whatever you got going on, if it's family stuff, thoughts and prayers with them, whatever you got, man. I don't know. But whatever it is, wish you well.
Ralph he's like at the fire pit. We're up on the hill, Ralph. You got the New Jersey guys, got us. We may be wandering down later. So, anyways, live from Bedford. Next week we'll be live from Scottsdale. So we'll have some fun live from the par 3 contest at Phoenix.
Oh, God. Ugh. That's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be a good time, which, by the way, there's still spots, so sign up now. But anyways, Gus, the hill is beyond number 16. Up the hill, up that road. Upper parking lot, take a left. You'll find us. Little neighborhood up there. So anyways, you guys have a great night. Until next Thursday, we'll look forward to seeing you all soon.